Welcome. All right. Welcome. I'm Sue Landay. This is Show and Share from Trainer's Warehouse. And today we're talking about the murder mystery game. So I have to tell you that in preparation for this, I reached out to dozens and dozens of customers who have purchased the game, either the card deck or the online version, to see if they would help me out. Folks who kind of had already been using the game, and I figured I wanted to get a lot of expertise. Had a chat with Linda Behrens, and but I haven't heard from a ton of others. So if you're on the call, I hope that you'll say hello right now. And actually, I learned from my friend Chad Littlefield that if I don't get you talking in the first 5 minutes, it's going to be hard to get you rallying later on. So I'm going to ask everyone to just take themselves off mute for a moment and say hello to one another in whatever language you would like. So I'm going to count back from three. Okay, I'm seeing audio on, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, ready?
Hello.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Good
Hello.
morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Hey,
Hello.
everyone.
Good morning. Good afternoon. It's nice to see everybody. So thank you. Thank you for joining. Let me do a really quick introduction of this game because typically it's played in about a half an hour, which is about the time that we have today. So I'm going to do a screen share here. And uh, all right. Can you guys see that all right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, the murder mystery game was originated by Jean Barbizet, and we have gotten the rights from her, and now from her estate to continue selling it. She passed away several years ago, but it remains a terrific tool, and it's quite versatile. So, depending on how you want to use this game, you can use it for communication, for leadership, for understanding within communication or even negotiations, differentiating between task focused conversation versus process. Um, Linda, who's on the call with us today, has used it for individual differences and styles in her temperament theory work. So the overview is that we've got this deck of cards with 27 clues. And you need to identify the victim, the murder weapon, the time and place of the murder, and the motive. So the clues look like a couple of these cards that I have right here. So the knife found in Mrs. Smith's yard had Mr. Scott's fingerprints on it. Or the elevator operator saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Scott's room at 12:25 a.m. So again, we have 27 different clues. The group needs to figure out victim, murder weapon, time, place of murder, and the motive. There are a few rules, and we're going to assign observers. So, full transparency, I haven't facilitated this online before, but we're all a community here, and wanted to give it a try. So, I will need at least 9 participants, um, because my goal is to distribute, as I'm looking at right here, we're going to give 1 to 3 clues to each participant. So, I'm going to show you the rules, and then in a gallery view, I'm going to have people raise their hands to indicate if they're willing to play. And what's different about our scenario that we have today is that I don't know in advance who's going to be on the call. My guess is that when you're running workshops, it's more likely that people who sign up and who are part of your training, you may already know. So you might be able to give clues out in advance. So it's a little bit tricky today, but I'll appreciate your just kind of bearing with me. So The rules. And this is the big one. Number one, people can only share rules verbally. Share their clues verbally. So no sharing by text, no charting answers. You'll have 15 minutes and the honor system is in place. So you can't down by your desks write down the clues and try to figure it all out. This is a communication, a sharing, an experience we're having together. All right. So I want to just see, I'm loaded the gallery. Do I have thumbs up from everybody? We're all on board to do this? Okay. And let's see, 15 minutes. If you can put a thumbs up or an emoji, I think that if you can do that, you can indicate to me, and I will through chat, a private chat, I'll give those who are participating a couple of clues. So,
So I raised my hand earlier. I didn't know if you
yeah.
noticed, but we can see your full screen, your split screen in your chat. So if someone sends you a private message, we will be able to see it.
Oh, that's so helpful. Okay, stop the share right now. Okay, we good? Okay, so let's see. Crystal raised her hand. So here we go. My first set of clues are going to Crystal. Crystal Riley, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Oops. Whoops, whoops. Copy, paste, send. All right. Christine Harwell. You get the second batch. And if we have more, I can give out fewer than 3. Okay. Sarah, who else did I see raise their hand? Chris Sabota. Hopefully I got that right. Okay, Wendy, I see you. And Nancy, I see you. Yes, it is being recorded. So Chris, and then we have Nancy. Okay. And who did I miss? Any more thumbs up from people? I need one. I need about 4 more. Sarah, did I send to you yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And Saul raised his hand or gave a thumbs up.
Oh, okay. Nancy, I got Sarah. Metcalf. Paste. Thanks for bearing with me, Saul. So yeah, you know you're among friends when you've got lots of people with you who are going to just like help you out. Okay, and I have, let's see, 2 more sets of clues and 3 hands. So I'm going to split these into 2, 2, 2. Okay, so Christy. Hi, Christy. Helen. And my last 2. Who am I missing? One more person? Christina Orr. Gotcha. Thank you. All right. 27 clues have been disseminated. It's 12:10. I'm gonna leave the floor open so all who have received clues need to unmute themselves. Um, and let's give it a whirl.
Okay, so Sue, we share our clues now with each other. Is that it?
Yep, verbally. So no
Okay.
taking notes, just you need to kind of figure out, you know, who committed the murder, how did they do it? And I'll put those items for everybody in the chat so that you can remember all the things that you need to find with respect to the murder.
I'm not sure where to find the clues. This is Christine.
In your chat, a direct message. Did others receive them?
Yes,
Mine.
I
I
see
did.
mine, and
Yep.
I feel like I possibly have one of the earliest hints. Um, so Mr. Kelly's body was found at 1:30 a.m. and Miss Smith saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Jones's apartment at 11:55 p.m.
And I have that Mr. Kelly's body was found in the park.
I have Mr. Kelly had been found dead 1 hour when his body was found. I'm sorry, had been dead for 1 hour, according to the medical expert.
Okay.
I have that
Yeah.
the elevator operator reported to the police that he saw Mr. Kelly at 12:15 a.m. Saw him like alive at 12:15 a.m.
I
Who saw them?
The elevator operator reported to the
Got it.
police.
So I have Mr. Jones shot an intruder in his apartment building at 12 a.m. When the elevator operator saw Mr. Kelly was bleeding slightly, but he didn't seem badly hurt.
So I
It's
have
probably 12.
that a knife with Mr. Kelly's blood on it was found in Mrs. Smith's yard.
And I have
Ooh.
Miss Smith said that nobody left the apartment building between 12:25 a.m. and 12:45 a.m. Mr. Kelly's wife disappeared after the murder. Police were unable to locate Mr. Scott after the murder.
That's because Mr. Kelly's wife frequently leaves the building with Mr. Scott.
Okay, mine is Miss Smith often followed Mr. Kelly. The elevator operator went off duty at 12:30 a.m. Mr. Jones has told Mr. Kelly that he was going to kill him.
Ooh.
The knife
And
was
only-
found in Mrs. Smith's yard and Mr. Scott's fingerprints on it.
And only one bullet was fired from Mr. Jones' gun. So there's a gun and a knife in play.
I have one that says the bullet taken from Mr. Kelly's thigh matched the gun owned by Mr. Jones.
Okay.
It wasn't a very good shot if you shot him in the thigh.
So it probably isn't what killed him.
And Mr.
However,
Kelly's
it was obvious for the condition of Mr. Kelly's body that it had been dragged a long distance,
Ooh.
possibly to that park. Yeah.
and
So I
Mr.
have-
Kelly's blood stains were found in Mr. Scott's car.
Ooh. Who
So I have
likes
Mr.
to
I
hang out
think-
with Mr. Kelly's wife?
There may be a connection here, because mine says the elevator operator saw Mr. Kelly's wife go to Mr. Scott's apartment at 11:30 p.m. So the elevator operator saw him go there before. It says Mr. Kelly. So Mr. Kelly had destroyed Mr. Jones's business by stealing all his customers. And then the elevator operator saw Mr. Kelly go to Mr. Scott's room at 12:25 a.m. So it sounds like both Mrs. Kelly and Mr. Kelly went to Mr. Scott's room before the murder. That was 12:25 a.m. That's about an hour before the body was found, 5 minutes before.
Yeah. So right in that window, something happened. But then the body got to the park, all the way to the park, wherever that was.
But yeah, then it said that Mr. Kelly was in the elevator at 12:15. Is that correct?
AM, yeah.
So
But
probably
wasn't his blood found in a car? Somebody said something
Yes.
about blood being found in the car.
Yes, it was
So
found
Did
in
it have
Mr.
a time
Scott's
stamp?
car.
All right, so I have a clue as well. It says Mr. Kelly's blood stains were found on the carpet in the hall outside Mr. Jones' apartment. When police tried to locate Mr. Jones after the murder, they discovered that he had disappeared.
So Mr. Jones and Mrs. Kelly both ran away, huh?
Are they the married couple, Mr. Jones and Mrs. Kelly?
No, because there's a Mr. Kelly too.
So it was Mr. Kelly's blood stains were found on the carpet in the hall outside Mr. Jones' apartment. When police tried to locate Mr. Jones after the murder, they discovered that he had disappeared. So this is all about Mr. Jones.
Do the clues say then that Mr. Kelly may have been the intruder in Mr. Jones's room, so Mr. Kelly probably got shot in the leg? Is that right?
Ooh.
Or am I mixing that up?
That sounds like a possibility because Mr. Kelly's body was found at the park
Yeah, Mr.
at
Kelly had a bullet
1:30.
hole and knife
Okay.
wound in his back.
So it's inconclusive because Mr. Jones shot an intruder
hmm
in his apartment at 12 a.m. The elevator operator saw Mr. Kelly
Go to Mr. Scott's room at
bleeding
12:25 a.m.
slightly.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Kelly went to Mr. Jones' apartment and Miss Smith was a witness to that. At 11:55, Mr.
I don't-
Kelly went to Mr. Jones. And then later on, Kelly ended up dead.
So can we maybe try to go through these in order of timeline? Maybe start at the beginning, go through, maybe we can piece together that way?
Not everything
So-
has a timestamp.
Okay.
Yes, everything does not. So like
Got
I
it.
have like the knife was found in Miss Smith's yard with Mr. Scott's fingerprints on it.
Got it.
The only time I have is Miss Smith said that nobody left the apartment building between 12:25 a.m. and 12:45 a.m. That's the only time I have.
Okay.
Do we have any more clues about Mr. Scott?
Only that Mr. Kelly's wife frequently left the building with Mr. Scott.
Mr.
That's what the elevator operator said.
And he saw, and the elevator operator also said he saw Mr. Kelly's wife go to Mr. Scott's apartment at 11:30.
Right. 11:30. So this is an
2
hour
hours before the body was discovered, an hour before the murder, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I think we can identify the victim as being Mr. Kelly because we know that he died, correct?
And we know it was he died from a knife wound.
Bullet hole in his thigh and a knife wound in his back.
Okay.
But do we know what killed him? What's the murder weapon?
There's two.
When someone saw him bleeding in the elevator, I believe, did they say it was a knife wound or a bullet wound? They said he seemed injured, but he was still okay.
The medical
That was-
expert with the police said when he was discovered dead, Mr. Kelly had a bullet hole in his thigh and a knife wound in his back. That's it.
So we
That I
don't know
have.
what actually killed him, right? Because wounded and
But-
dead is two different things.
Well, we
At
have
some point,
both.
somebody saw him wounded, though. I'm saying, what wound did we see?
Right. We did hear that. It was the elevator operator saw him and he seemed fine. He had a wound, but he seemed fine. I don't have that clue, but I do remember hearing that too.
Yeah, I don't have that clue.
Okay, so we're not able to tell if it was a stab that he was walking away from or a bullet that he was walking away from.
Mm-hmm.
What time was did they say he was at Mr. Kelly's apartment or whatever? Mr. Jones. What time was Mr. Jones at Mr. Kelly's apartment? Did someone have that? And they saw blood in the hallway on the On the floor?
So I have Mr. Kelly's blood stains was found on the carpet in the hall outside Mr. Jones' apartment. No timestamp, and it's just outside. So it doesn't say anything about him and Mr. Jones actually having a conversation or anything. It just said the blood was found outside the apartment.
Mr. Kelly went to Mr. Jones's apartment at 11:55. Miss Smith saw that.
And then he went to Mr. Scott's room at 12:25.
So he was still alive, leaving Jones, but there was blood, apparently.
It's hard to put it all together when you don't have like people, like faces or.
Yeah, we can't map it out. I know the names.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know what the motive is. The motive was, somebody mentioned it earlier about his work.
Mr. Kelly had destroyed Mr. Jones' business by stealing all his customers.
So
we don't know if that was the murder because it sounds like Mr. Scott or Smith, somebody was also sleeping with his wife. That could be
what
murder.
happened.
That could be
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right, because he left Mr. Jones's apartment and then went to Scott. So what happened once he went to Scott's apartment?
And that's almost the exact time they're saying there was the murder, about an hour before the body was discovered.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm getting confused. Mr. Kelly's the one that got murdered, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any other clue about Mr. Scott besides that he and Mrs. Kelly left together or that they were in the apartment? There was a Smith or something with.
Well, Mr. Kelly's, he was dragged to the park.
What if there were two murderers, like Scott and Mrs. Kelly murdered him? Because if he caught them, one could stab, another one could drag, realistically. And they could be blaming it on Jones.
Make it look like Jones did it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what else do we have about Mrs. Kelly?
I think she did it. It was the knife was found in her yard with Mr. Scott's fingerprints on it.
They did it together.
That makes sense.
And the reason I say that is because Mr. Scott could have took the knife from Mrs. Smith.
I feel like Mr. Kelly might have gone to Scott to find his wife or like to see about that and go to them to address it. And then they teamed up against him, buried it in Mrs. Kelly's yard, assuming that no one would check Mrs. Kelly. And Mr. Scott is the actual murderer that, did the heavy lifting.
So what about, when did Mr. Jones say he had an intruder in his apartment? Did they have a timestamp on that? Said something about shot an intruder. Was that the elevator operator? Who had that clue?
I did not.
12 a.m. is Mr. Jones shot an intruder.
12 a.m. So Mr. Kelly gets shot by Mr. Jones.
Well, I didn't say that for sure.
I mean, that had to
at 11:55.
Assumptive.
Kelly went to Mr. Jones's apartment at 11:55. So if 5 minutes later Mr. Jones shot an intruder, then I feel like that had to be Mr. Kelly.
And saw Mr. Kelly on the elevator with an injury, but not too bad.
And he went up to Scott's apartment
after that. Yeah.
So he's been shot. He limps onto the elevator and goes up to.
Okay, so
she stabbed him in the
you guys
back.
are doing amazingly. We have like 2 more minutes before we share the solution. So like, what's our best guess? You guys are doing amazingly well, by the way.
Sounds like Jones shot Kelly, but didn't kill him. And then Kelly went back to his apartment, or he went to Scott's apartment?
He had to have gone to Scott's apartment.
Okay. And my clue says Mrs. Smith follows often followed Mr. Kelly. Maybe they were together. I don't
But we
know.
don't have any motive from Mrs. Smith other than she
Yeah.
sounds nosy.
Well, other than
Yeah, it just makes her a reliable source for the information she gave us. Like, because she's always snooping, that we can believe that what she's saying is true. That she saw Mr. Kelly go to
Mhm.
Mr. Jones' apartment. After the fact, we find the knife in Mrs. Kelly's yard, even though we last saw him or last know his whereabouts alive being Mr. Scott's apartment.
I love it. Smith did it.
Okay. Should we have the reveal?
Sure.
Were there,
Okay.
just before we do it, were there any other clues about a Smith? Or is it just Mrs. Smith frequently saw Mr. Kelly? Was there anything else?
she
Just
often
that she,
followed Mr. Kelly.
Because the knife wound was in the back. I don't know. Anyway, just curious. All right.
Okay. So let's do the reveal and then let's talk about let's do a quick debrief for those who can hang on. I hope you have a few more minutes and don't have to depart really quickly at half past the hour. But okay, so here we are. Saul, read it aloud to us.
After receiving a superficial gunshot wound from Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, the victim, went to Mr. Scott's apartment. Mr. Kelly confronted Mr. Scott about the affair with his wife. At 12:30, Mr. Scott stabbed and killed Mr. Kelly with a knife. He threw Mr. Kelly's body in his car and left him at the park. Oh yeah, there was the car clue. Mr. Scott tossed the murder weapon in Miss Smith's yard and disappeared with Mrs. Kelly. Oh, see, that's her. Yeah, I thought there was something. So Miss Smith's yard. So he's trying to frame Mrs. Smith,
So if you
and
guys
then
got the victim,
we were really close.
we weren't sure
We
with
were
the
so
murderer,
close.
right? So close.
Well, we said Scott was the
We
murderer.
had Scott. We were just
I
getting
think we
Mrs.
had got
Kelly too.
confused with the Mr. Kelly,
Yeah, I didn't
Mrs.
tie together
Kelly and
the
Mrs.
framing of Mrs.
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah,
Yep,
we thought the knife was in the wrong spot.
yep.
But other than that, we were straight.
Otherwise, we had it.
So
Nailed it. Man,
you
I feel
guys
like
did
we did a good
awesome.
job.
All right, thumbs up, like applause for all of you.
CSI Random Nationwide Group. Good job.
So debrief, and we're going to kind of going to share these questions. I would think that in a real situation, you'd spend kind of more time on these things, depending on what your focus is. I felt like there was a lot of listening, so like in the what happened, how did you solve the case? Seemed to me to be a lot of sharing of clues on the outset and then trying to kind of give them some order, right? You might ask folks like what hindered you? At what point and how did people kind of separate the task from the process? Like how did we start to put things together? And Saul, I heard you asking questions about putting together a timeline and so forth. And as you guys are debriefing this, you'd be asking the group the questions. I just want to be respectful of people's time and say, okay, we saw it. Let's talk about how you could use it, how you might facilitate it, and so forth. And I also see a bunch of questions in the chat. So, kind of shifting, and forgive me for not doing a full debrief, but I want to make sure that we kind of focus on what we all want to get out of it. So, does the murder mystery pack include one mystery? Yes. Uh, we just did, I think Jean Barbizette had two different murder mystery products. This is just the first one. We have the card deck, and we also have this as an online experience where you get the clues and you get some of these resources, just like I shared with you guys. Cami, yes, thank you. For anyone nervous about a murder mystery, Xenobelisk is another one of these kind of matrix questions and challenges that isn't, it is similar in concept, but doesn't have that, that same murder mystery, murder focus. Not being able to see visually the names and faces of victims, not being able to write. Yes, Trina, that's a hindrance. And so the group was really good in just trying to talk through it and reassimilate what they think they know, what they know, and share that and reiterate it so that they could then, ask each other questions about what happened. And you could draw out conversations about leadership, about communications, about styles. Are there any folks who have had experience doing this in their own classrooms?
I have, Sue. I have this activity. I haven't done it for quite a few years. But I did have a larger group, about 15 or 18 people, and they got quite a kick out of it.
Yeah. And do you feel like it was worth the time and the takeaways about, kind of focusing on how people share information, openness to share and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. They started to add, I remember, well, they started to add their own embellishments about what they were assuming from the clues, that this must mean this or this must mean that.
Mhm.
And that was, and that, I think they kind of had some fun with that too, to think about how do we share the information and what natural assumptions do we start making with the pieces of information that we do have.
Um, Exchange I want to draw people's attention to in the chat about not writing and if that's critical to this experience. Um, Not writing is critical. It hinders your ability. It does hinder your ability, right? Nancy, what was your experience in that? And do you feel like that it forces people to relate or to think in different ways?
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I think that is a huge thing because our mind instantly goes, if we have clues, we need to write them down. But we have conversations all the time. And lots of times our conversations have lots of information in them that we're sharing, dialoguing, talking about, working through. And I think that that's what this is a good example of. Is it's a conversation that we're having, and it just happens to be a murder mystery, to add a little dynamic to it. But sometimes there's, issues and challenges happening on the job that we're in the moment and we're talking about. And I think that we have to refer to that and not go, look, there isn't every single time when we're standing there with a piece of paper and we can map it all out. Sometimes we have to solve a problem right in the moment. And this is what this relates to that.
And Saul mentioned teamwork, and I did like, when people kind of went back to each other and said, wait, what did we hear about this? What did we learn about, Mr. Kelly? Do we think that this is the motive? And working out a problem together in real time, I thought it was really cool to see those dynamics. Um, and to highlight for teams who may either be working well together or not, or just coming together, like what are the qualities of effective teamwork and of effective communication? Um, and active listening. Absolutely, Christina. A great active listening.
Sue,
Yeah.
one of the things I really liked was some people sort of calling each other out on making assumptions. And I think this is another thing to reference what Nancy was just saying. We go ahead and just make things up because it's what we presume or what we project is happening. And I liked that it gave the opportunity for people to say, wait a minute, he said he was shot. He didn't say he shot him. So that's a key in terms of the communication, especially as Nancy was saying, when we don't have it all written down and we're all just sort of by memory trying to remember. And what we do with our brain is we fill in what we don't remember. So assumptions are a big deal of this, I think.
Another great reason to use the game and to be able to pull that out as a learning point, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Active listening. I'm just again going over to thank you, Saul and Christy, for sharing your LinkedIn.
There was a question in the chat that I might have missed the answer to it, but I wanted to reiterate. So someone had asked is there only one mystery in this deck? So now that we've all know this, the solution, if we were to play this again, we would still know the solution, or are there different mysteries?
There is only one in the deck, so you may use it for, different groups. If you wanted to go back, you'd have to go to Xenobelisk or some other mystery. There is just one.
The other thing too, though, is like I plan to use it, and one of the people has been through it before, but he won't remember. Won't remember, what actually happened or what the actual answer was, which is kind of fun too, because it also is a great debrief point in terms of all the things we do forget, even something as important as this, right? We can forget it or completely think, oh, I've been through that. Let me tell you how it goes, and it doesn't go that way.
Yeah, there wouldn't be. I've been doing all of this research on memory, and our brains are sort of meant to forget. And so unless you really make a point of remembering something, but like who would care to remember this? So to that point, Linda Behrens, yes. You had your hand raised. I don't know if you wanted to jump in there.
She's muted.
Oh, you're muted. Yeah. Let's see if we can get you unmuted.
There's-
Okay. I'm usually on the facilitation end, not the observing end, so I don't even know how to manipulate the stuff. The, I think that one of the biggest values of this is to, and I've heard some of you mention it without categorizing it, but is that you wind up seeing that there are individual differences. So one individual difference is some people are more auditory in terms of their learning and memory. Some are more visual, some are more kinesthetic. And there's almost nothing kinesthetic about this one other than projection on it. And then, of course, obviously, because my field of study and work is about personality differences. So no matter what model of personality you're using, you can also key that in to use this to teach that, to give you a real example of the differences.
Excellent. Thank you.
And some questions about that is like, what was most stressful for you during this? Because for me, to not know the answer, given my temperament, is very stressful.
Thank you.
So that's my 2 cents worth today.
Much appreciated. Thank you. And
Sue, did you address Charlotte's comment about conflict? It's up about four things up
yeah,
there.
I was going to go to Chris's question and then to Charlotte's. So, is there a way to break it up into smaller groups? If you had, normally I wouldn't have this many observers, but again, we're doing a demo online for the purpose of, of training trainers and of being a resource to one another. I would probably have either multiple decks or use breakout rooms so that if you had, we've had like 30 plus people and only 9 were giving clues. And if you were doing this within a classroom of people, yeah, I would break into smaller breakouts and give clues, whether you're working online or in a classroom, so that you can have most of the people participating rather than the majority of people observing as we did. Does that answer your question, Chris? Hopefully.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, Sue, you could have observation rubrics for some people. Someone's looking for conflict resolution, someone else is looking for active listening, someone else is, so you could have a rubric of certain things you've already been teaching that the observers are looking for, and they can be part of the debrief.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And so, Charlotte, it also pulled out leaders of teams, identified how people may handle conflict, avoiding disagreement, compromising. Yeah, or we didn't see a lot of disagreement, but as as Nora mentioned earlier, people were making assumptions. Like if you start talking about the assumptions that people are making and then they feel antagonized and then they're not sharing that, yeah, there's a lot that you can kind of dissect as you get to more questions like that. And I don't know, would it be helpful to bring up that list of other processing questions that I had earlier? I'll just do a quick share on it. So, focusing on the process, how do people get organized? How do you deal with frustration? What might you have done differently? What can take discussions off track? How do we get back on track? Discussing task versus process. I guess we've talked about a lot of these, but for whatever it's worth, we do offer some debrief and reflection questions. But you know best for your group what the rubrics are, what the information is that you're trying to focus on and draw out, whether it's styles or conflict resolution or listening and so forth. So we give you some ideas, but leave some of that to you as well. Any other questions? Thanks all for sharing your LinkedIns. Any other questions about the game or things that you'd like to ask each other? I also have one other question for you guys before we all hang up. Don't hang up yet.
Are there more versions of the game, and is it just one scenario?
This is just one scenario. I can look into Murder Mystery number 2 that Jean Barbizet had 2 games, and we only ever made one into a card deck in an online experience, but good idea. I'm going to get on that. And as someone else mentioned, Zin Obelisk. Sarah, if you're still on, can you put that link in? So that's another matrix puzzle.
I did already, but I can
It is. Okay. So Zin Obelisk is about this tall tower, and it uses all kinds of different words. It's sort of like the names, you have to keep track of them. It's similar in that you have to figure out what do these different words mean, that we're building the names of days and weeks and how many there are. They're all kind of different language. So that makes that fun and challenging. And there is online, Zin Obelisk is it's everywhere. We didn't make it up. We found it and said, oh, let's put this in a deck and let's make this available online so that people don't have to recreate it themselves. But it's not proprietary to anyone that we were able to find.
I really
Okay.
appreciate you demonstrating this. It was neat to see so many people who had no idea who everybody else was interacting so collaboratively. Really neat product for sure.
And thank you guys, because as I said before, I haven't facilitated it or seen it online also. So it was awesome for me too. So thank you. So I guess my question to you all is, in terms of coming up with our next show and shares, we have a few that we've designated, some demos, some just kind of open conversation. We have one talking about fidgets, I think, is also on our calendar. But are there specific tools or conversations that you'd love to kind of open up to the group, ask one another questions? I like having a theme each time, but I want to be responsive to what the group's needs are. So if you have any ideas that you can either put in chat now or email to me, I'd love your input and requests. So, all right. With that, I'm going to say thank you to everybody. As always, I'm going to stay on for a while and, just chat with whoever is available. But thanks for doing this with me. I loved it. You all are awesome. And here we are going to